Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie. Nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie, przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie, w tym samym kościele, w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. Jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego, ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy. I musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom. To jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz, że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej, by być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces.
Witamy na 422 warsztatach poszukiwaczy wiedzy w języku polskim. Dzisiaj jest czwartek, 10 grudnia 2020, godzina 21. Tematem dzisiejszego spotkania jest tłumaczenie pierwszej części 357 już warsztatu poszukiwaczy wiedzy. I dzisiaj mamy kawałki od 9 do 15 minuty, od 24 do 40. Od 44 do godziny 20, godzina 44 do godziny 48 i ostatni fragment to jest 2 godziny 14 do 2 godziny 23 minuty. Także żeby już nie zwlekać, zapraszam do obejrzenia materiału, potem otworzymy panel na dyskusję, pytania i cokolwiek nam ślina na język przyniesie. Zapraszam do oglądania.
That you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers workshops of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. As we see, we are back in 357 times without failure to teach, to expand the knowledge, and to promote the science. As we have seen in the past years, scientists have become the victim of the world leaders and those who judge they are more than scientists. As I've written many times and taught many times, the station of the scientist is equal to the prophet of God. The prophet brings guidance for behavior of the man. Scientists bring knowledge for living of the man. To this level, we have seen another atrocity by one nation or other collection of nations on another leading scientist, another Iranian nuclear plasma scientist, devoted to extend the knowledge of the man into every aspect. The scientist worked very much on the same level as me in the plasma technology and in the direction of expanding the knowledge. Unfortunately, he was gunned down last Friday, and this is a killing of another prophet. I have one word to say to the nations who think it's right to do this, as I have been a victim of bombing, shooting, poisoning, killing of our assistants and the rest of it. These things has to stop. These atrocities, but different nations under a different banner to protect and promote their violence has to stop. We mourn as one nation the loss of another scientist in the hand of whatever nation, color or race who has carried this out. Indications are is a collective work of 3 nations. We have opened exactly who are involved, and in time, Keshe Foundation will make sure these nations will be deprived of knowledge. It's very simple. We elevate the soul of the man, as killing up to now has not done any good for any of us. Man has killed for thousands of years. Man has killed enemies, brothers and sisters. What for? Just to justify that they can. The time of killing has come to an end. And in so many ways, the punishment of the nations who carry this is not receiving the knowledge for them and their citizens. We see the fingerprint of this murder again directly connected to the state of Belgium. We see this again directly connected to the state of Israel. We see this set up and executed by those who operate in northern part of Asia in collaboration with another nation called Turkey. These 3 nations have to understand what is the consequence of killing scientists. And in turn, we open the books, and in turn these nations will pay for their conduct. We respect and we give our condolences to his family, to the nation of Iran, and to one planet, one nation. As we all are his citizens. We have played a video to pay respect and homage to this scientist. He worked extremely hard on the COVID-19 in releasing a new solution. He worked extremely hard on plasma technology in space and development. So many people who knew him and his work have compared him with my work and my way of working. Moment of silence is to elevate the soul of the man. Memory of the man is to elevate him the whole time he exists in the realm of the creation. I would like to ask Rick if we can play the video which we have made by the Mehran Keshe Foundation in paying respect to the scientist who was murdered in a crueler way than they tried to kill me and they killed Fabio. We come to one position. Does mankind needs to kill? And in time we shall show. These things has come to an end. This is a face of a highly intellectual scientist in nuclear plasma technology. Exactly the field I work. Why do they kill nuclear physicists and only Iranian? Is one solution. We are too far ahead, we are too good, and we are expanding the knowledge of man too fast that other nations do not want their citizens to be educated, that they could find a way of freedom into space and new understanding. Professor Mohsen Fakhrizadeh is one of the leading scientists in the space technology, in rocket propulsion and plasma propulsion, and many other aspects. As he believed the same as me, to go to space we have to develop a full spectrum of knowledge. We pay homage to his life, and could you please play? A light out on another life who served humanity. We are not the only nation which has suffered this way in the hand of state killing and big corporation killing. When they cannot get, or when it's too advanced, they cannot reach to understand, they blame it for all. 5 of the top 1,000 scientists of China has been murdered in the same way in past 2 or 3 years. Number of the European scientists have been killed the same way, by the side road, a bombing, blowing a tire, and then bullets in the head. A number of American scientists have been killed the same way. And we see the pattern. As I was told by the guy who was my knowledge seeker from the shameful state of Belgium, sitting in front of me, saying that we blow your tire and then we put a bullet in your head, Mr. Keshe. I sat with my assassin in front of me the day before assassination with a hat, because he was too scared to look into my eye. When I asked the security, he said he's come to kill you. He's too afraid how to handle you when he faces you. He's come to get rid of his own fear. And the next day they turned up. I've spoken with the family of these victims. They get terrorized that they don't even want to talk about. The founder of the computer compression system, which we all enjoy, his son lives in absolute poverty in the state of Netherlands, where they stole, and then his pattern broke up, and then it appeared in a number of companies and under the name of many people which we come to know. Those who developed the first water engine, twin brothers, again given poison on the table by Belgians, and one brother died, as he would not give his technology. Same as me and many other scientists. This state-sponsored killing has to stop. Maybe the murder of this scientist is the point to start. By elevating the soul of the nations and its citizens and its leaders, maybe it's time to bring this back on the table. We wish for the end of wars. We wish for the end of killing of the scientists. What will happen if these people realize when they do this, what their children and their grandchildren have to pay for the misconduct of the father who carries out these murders? As you know, we have received a new threat on my life, and we are waiting. I'm on the line, like this professor, in the next 30 days to be executed or killed, sponsored by the Iranian government on the threat we received. Why our own nations put the threat out on us is another point. Is it because we are bringing a nation so fast to understand? That's another point. As I explained, anyone touches me, I wipe out the nations. Forget about the family. In a very pure way, in a very clean way, by elevating the soul, where the physicality will be ashamed to take shape. Touch me, and I'll touch your inner being and inner soul. At the same time, my call goes to the world leaders. Stop the killing of the world scientists. Stop the destruction of the man development in a faster way to a higher level of understanding the work of the Creator. In so many ways, we all stand on the same path. We are the light. We are that beacon which brings man home one step closer to the Creator. The understanding of the work of the Creator does not matter if our feeble mind does not understand. State-sponsored murders by different nations and other nations has to stop. And even sponsored murder by the leaders of one nation and their own scientists has to stop. What will be the next step in man understanding more? Why do our leaders have fear of these things is beyond many people's comprehension. We have seen state-sponsored terror and terrorist activities long and long, not only on the scientists, but the head of corporation families. We've seen the same state-sponsored terrorism on the family of Howie in Canada. Exactly the way I was captured, held for 11 days and threatened to be killed every day by Canadian national securities in the airport. This time, the lady had the money. She's free to go home, but with the false allegation and the same. Just because Huawei is years ahead of American scientists. American scientists are a collection of the world scientists who their knowledge is not valued much because it's stolen and terrorized by the others. They terrorize every nation. If they don't have, you are a terrorist nation. Iranian scientists are 50 years minimum ahead of American scientists in plasma technology, nanotechnology, and combination of the space development. I am one, and I'm thousands of years ahead of all. But I respect the territory of Iran and the territory of this planet and the universe as I share knowledge freely with all. The Prime Minister of Iran, what I call the false Prime Minister Ahmadinejad, always came with one rhetoric which was shameful to the Iranian nation, that we have to see the end of one state. The new way is we have to elevate that state to become ashamed of their own conduct, not to eliminate, because we cannot take part of this planet out. But we can elevate them to be ashamed of their own conduct. My praise and my wish is, and will go to the Prime Minister of Israel, Mr. Netanyahu. I hope your soul gets elevated that finds no dimension in the physical life of this planet. The same goes for your daughters and your sons. The elevation of the soul to leave the dimension of physicality will become so painful for those who do not want the elevation. But they have to understand, when Christ said, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, did not mean to pull and destroy, take eye for an eye, was to elevate the soul of the man that he sees with the eye of the soul of the man, the misconduct of the man, and become ashamed of his own conduct. So, Mr. Netanyahu, I have one message for you. I wish the elevation of your soul, and especially your siblings and your children and those who call yours. I hope you see many bright lights where you are so dim that your soul wishes that never misconducted. And I wish the same for your bloodline, as long as it exists. Sponsoring, terrorizing many scientists has to become forbidden and become equal to murder. And the heads of the states have to respond and be responsible by their soul from now on, not by the courts of man-made who they can cover themselves. I was in China when the Chinese scientists, top leaders, were assassinated. But the state of terror by these hooligans of the scientists made one thing much more hard for all the scientists: to work harder to make sure that they don't win. They cannot take over the others. Does the mankind need to suffer more by lack of understanding? Or would we have executed Pascal, Tesla, and many other people who brought their knowledge as scientists and they devoted their lives to serve humanity? My wish goes to the leaders of the state of Belgium. I wish the same elevation for your daughters and your bloodline. Elevation of their soul will teach you how to become humble. The elevation of the soul of the present and the past leaders of these nations need to be understood, that there is nothing but the greed of the physicality and the misconduct of total lack of understanding of their own existence. I have one wish, that this killing of the scientists stops, as I wonder if the state of Israel leaders would have executed and murdered Moses, or the Christian leaders would have put a bullet in the head of Christ. And then we see the saying from Islamic world, if they would have done with Muhammad. When you think to kill or to structure the murder of a scientist, think of two things from now on. The moment you think, from now, you pay with your soul, and those who you have created, and those who have created you, you pay collectively for the elevation of the soul. But the elevation of the soul will be so much that you become nothing but the black dust in the universe and in the living. Maybe the world leaders understand. As of today, murder of any scientist is payable by the soul of the man who think of it and those who carry it out. Let us see which nations will pay for first. What is interesting, we see in the ethos and the head of the new American administration, science. Is this another way to promote science, or is it another way to find the scientists who are elevating and to murder? We'll leave that with the new administration in the United States and Mr. Biden, and see if it's of the same blood and the same way. We have to realize, during the administration as a Vice President of the United States, more wars and killing was incited than any other time. My wish is that the ways of the Vice Presidentship does not carry its way into presidentship on the banner of the science to kill more scientists. The truth hurts, but the reality is, paying for it, it will hurt more. Thank you very much. And we wish for elevation of the soul of this Iranian scientist, as it was carried out by the nations who want to force or enforce their misconduct on the others. I give the platform to any of the knowledge seekers who would like to pay their respect to another scientist who was called, murdered in a well-planned but executed murder. Thank you very much. Government-sponsored murders has to stop. National and international corporations planning of destruction of the scientists has to stop. And in so many ways, mankind has to mature. The only way, the only path for the maturity of the man to understand the work of the Creator is through the messengers of science. And sooner or later, we will achieve that. And this will be written of the history of the man. How man killed another man for his knowledge. As the Chinese ambassador told me once, he said, Mr. Keshe, you're scientists like an oil well. If we could tie you down to one place that we could use your wealth of knowledge, we would have been in charge and run the economy of the world. The problem with you scientists is that you are a floating oil tanker. And you share your knowledge with everyone, and you share everything that you think is right with those who think have the right to use and develop. One of the cornerstones of stopping the murder of the scientists is abolishment of patent. Abolishment of control over the knowledge and the structures who were set up to do this. There is no falsification, and there is nothing worse than the patent structure registration of today, that they block you to share your knowledge because this way they can use you. The best example of it, as we know, is the man who developed the wiper for the front screen of the car. For 20 years he ran, and all the companies used his knowledge, but he couldn't get his patent sorted. By the time he did, the patent was out, and he got nothing for it. The amount of energy used for him to develop something new, 20 years went in developing and trying to prove it was correct. The way we done, we open a patent that everyone can do what they like to add the knowledge to it. And this is what many world leaders and scientific world heads do not like. Sharing the knowledge on the free basis of knowledge of the man to add to the knowledge. In any case, the shame goes on those who plan, and the glory goes to those who get elevated to the soul of their knowledge. Today's teaching will bring a different tone into understanding of many things. Last week, I showed you a dynamic structure where it could be seen we have managed to create a life with a heartbeat, with a self-rotation, and with circular rotation around a center point of field. The development and further development of this technology, as will be shown in coming weeks, will be where we create the structure of a solar system, where each ball will carry the identity of one planet or one moon, and then we allow a number of these balls to rotate at the same time, not only a perpetual rotation on their axis, not only having a heartbeat, but they'll be able to follow gravitational magnetic field of each other to position themselves. In a way, with this, for example, if you are somebody who does stargazing, you will see, for example, so many planets in solar system will align in certain times of the year or decades. In this process, we will see this. In this process, we'll be observe how this happens, and with it, we can start planning out the map of the universe, trying to understand position of galaxies and what the field strength is in the position, that we can position ourselves in that place, time and space. The replication of the number of these objects has been tested, and we see it, and we see how at certain point they solidify. They become like a star formation. They become 3-layer hexagonal shape, and in coming days in the teaching we will release more videos where you will see not only one object, but number of objects in creating their own individual heartbeat and central rotation, and what we call environmental rotation will create and give us for the first time a 3-dimensional structure of our solar system to start. This is important to understand, as by gathering this knowledge and being able to make a 3-dimensional plasmatic condition of our solar system, we can pinpoint exactly where we want to be, and in given time, understanding the strength of the position, we can transmute and transport ourselves into that position. Very much universal GPS, but the instant transportation and instant what we call development of the space travel. In the structures of the enhancement units, which you will see, the creation of such a structure is possible. If you noticed when we showed, and now that you have seen the enhancement unit in the exhibition center in Linz, is not spherical, it's oval shape. Is the shape of the universe, is the pressurizing of the magnetic gravitational fields, that when mankind is ready to understand the totality, then we will see that all objects in the universe are in the shape of the enhancement unit. The reason for it has to be understood, and why even the map of the universe, which was released by NASA some years ago, is oval in shape and not spherical, not circle. The reason being that within the center of all these, be it the sun, be it the center of the universe, they are in motion. They are not fixed in one position. Our solar system is the same. Our sun is in motion in the atmosphere of this galaxy. So it's not stationary to keep the shape of the circle, the sphere. The pressures of the gravitational magnetic fields of other planets, other universes, other galaxies, other stars within the galaxy forces you to always to be in motion to find your position. So a spherical shape of any object is impossibility, does not exist. Even when we put a spherical core in the center of the flight system, the shape of the magnetic fields of that system is always in what we call, as it is, like a neck. Because one is pushing forward and one end is taking the pressure of the whole environment to allow the back pressures of the magnetic field in the opposite direction of the motion to be able to keep the front pressure on the system to be able to stand the magnetic gravitational field forces of the environment where the object is flying into. When we look at the global map of NASA about our universe in the oval shape as we see, this gives us a very clear indication that our universe is in motion in the unicos. Which means is a clear indication that this universe, as we call it, the same as our solar system, is in motion. There is a bigger structure. Rick, if you could find the license free of the NASA, the showing the shape of the universe, please can you display it? Then you understand, the same as the Earth. When we look at the structure of the gravitational magnetic field forces of this planet within the structure of the gravitational magnetic field forces of the sun and the solar system, we are and we have the same shape. And depending on the position of other stars and other planets and other moons, we have indentation in these fields. In the fields and structure of the magnetic gravitational field of the planet. In so many ways, what we come to understand, the shape of this, what we call oval shape, with the sun in the center, or the same oval shape with the central black hole of the universe. This gives us one indication. Earth and our universe are in motion. This is the picture released by NASA from Propulsion Lab.
And this would be of the galaxy, apparently, the Milky Way galaxy, our Milky Way galaxy, which is, like you say, in that disc kind of shape.
Everything has to be, which shows the galaxies on the move. Do not look at the object. This is what I asked even from the knowledge seekers teachers in the KF SSI. Start teaching your students about the fields and not about the ganses. What you look is at the pressure that the universe can take and in the direction of the motion. And why and how we see resistance on the edges, more objects on the edges, because of the conversion of the fields of the unicos on the universe, because of the pressures of the boundary fields on the matter. In a coming time, when, for example, we understand more even with our solar system, we'll see more tiny objects than what we thought, bigger than our moon, on the boundary of our solar system, just outside it than inside it. These come by the conversion of the interaction of the fields. When you look at these blue lines in the middle, as we see, indicating the gravitational magnetic field of a galaxy, a solar system, or a universe, these are clearly from interaction of the fields, very much created by the light of the daylight on this planet, by interaction of the four field forces of gravity and magnetical of both Earth and the Sun. In the new system of the enhancement units you will walk into, you shall see no light. The light inside the systems will be translucent, very much like the light of the universe. In the new development, in the enhancement unit, you will see no light bulbs. You enter into the dimension of the translucent light of the universe. As the systems work on the same way, you will feel the blow of the air very much without any pumps, but by conversion and transportation of the fields of the system. Those of you who will walk into the new enhancement unit, you feel as you walk into the universe. The understanding of the new technology is simple. Is understanding that everything has to be on the principle of the universe and not man-made. And in that process, with the introduction and delivery of the new enhancement units and the technologies which are developed in it, will bring a new dimension into the life of the man. As I explained yesterday to the research team, in the present time, you see the display unit. In the new enhancement unit, there'll be two places for two balls. One, the soul and the conduct of the physician, and one of the patient, of the volunteer who is going into the system. You'll be carrying the replication of your own soul within the sphere which is given to you at the point of perfection. And that, in conjunction with the wish and the soul of the physician, will bring the soul of the man into position. In a way, we don't take MRIs and X-rays, but you carry the three-dimensional structure of the soul at the time when you enter the system. The wishes and the soul of the physician will enlighten yours, and within the structure of physicality, within the system, you receive what is acceptable to you to elevate your soul of physicality. The new enhancement unit, which is getting released, delivered in January, carries and will be upgraded to the point that you shall see any structure of the present technologies of computers. You will not see any structure of the lighting, you will not see anything but the replication of the work of the universal system that is called universal enhancement, where your soul elevates to the level of the work of the universe, and in it and within it allows you to enter the true dimension of the living. As I said many times, I wonder how many of you will be strong enough to carry the dimension of your soul, carry the dimension of the strength of your soul to elevate your physicality, that in that level, if you wish, you enter the dimension of the Creator. The new enhancement units, which will be released in the coming weeks, around the world will bring revolution in the world of science. A revolution where there shall be no electronics, there shall be no computers, there shall be no past memories for man to carry on with in the dimension of misconducts of the soul, of the physicality, and the dimension of physicality itself. In so many ways, the enhancement units will bring you the replication of the work of the universe in the dimension of understanding of the soul of the man. The new enhancement units, which many of you will have the privilege to walk in and benefit from its beauty, will be very much the work of the universe. In so many ways, the new enhancement units is the life of the man within the confinement of his own cage of a bigger dimension of the physical life of the universe. As I said, when you walk into the new enhancement units, as we change and we develop it into the position of its final structure, will become flight systems, will become systems that you can fly within it through your soul to the point of destination. And then it's the decision of your physicality to decide if the soul of physicality would like to manifest itself in that time and position. You enter the machine in Tehran and you land in Tel Aviv. As I said before to the American president's negotiators, how many men of Africa you want me to land in front of the White House? As I said in my message to the Iranian leadership on Monday, and the Sabah and the Iranian government, learn from your previous leaders and those who you praise, and work the same way. As the line of animosity and hatred can only be taken out by the presence of the man, I said to the Iranian leadership one simple thing: learn from Ayatollah Khomeini. When I was a student in 1979, sitting in the student union building in Queen Mary College, as I saw that the Iranian students were planning how to start a revolution, now the Shah has left, Khomeini took one step. Khomeini took one step. And as he was in Paris, he chartered a plane and he got as many people as he could into it, and he said, we're going to Tehran. They shoot us or we land and we change the course. And I said the same thing to the Iranian leadership. Pack as many Iranian army leaders, the Jewish people of Iran, and many others, and land in Tel Aviv and open the arm of peace and friendship and see if the Jews will shoot you or they put their guns down. The same I suggested to the Iranian leadership with Saudi Arabia and other nations. This is the way to elevate the soul of the man to be ashamed of his own conduct. We all have made mistakes and changes has to be. And I go back the same to all the world leaders. Where there is a conflict, get on the plane and just fly into each other's capital and see how the humanity reacts, not the gun policy. This is the way we will show you in the enhancement units, that we bring the world leaders to enter and to see if they come out as the same man. Those world leaders who refuse to enter enhancement units shows their intention. But on the other hand, there are other ways to reach these leaders. There shall be no war, because we will elevate the soul of the man and those who think they are the leaders. In a way, many of you knowledge seekers have been given all the tools to create these conditions. The tool is the strength of your soul. The tool is the strength of the end of animosity and understanding of many more. The new enhancement unit is the addition to the science and the technology of the man, which man will never forget and will develop. And with it, we will see the new generation of lives that are devoted to serve not only humanity, but the passengers of the Unicos. In so many ways, what we see as the new development of the new enhancement systems is the delivery of the knowledge of universe directly into the soul of the man. And we shall see how mankind will take into these directions and into these systems. As I said, we endeavor to let the first structures of the enhancement unit to bring the first changes, that with it will come the process of the changing through the soul of the man and not the physicality of the man. At the same time, understanding the work of the enhancement unit, as I explained earlier on, and to the other knowledge seekers, Keshe Foundation has developed a new system that you can enter understanding in it, change the course of any virus. These systems are needed in the space and have brought this development forward because of the situation with what we have with the viruses across the world today. We cannot produce and we cannot create conditions that will interfere with the world and the structure of the physicality of the man. But we can change the environment of the man that the physicality is protected. The new knowledge and the new systems which are to be shown will carry this structure. The problem with many of our knowledge seekers is when we trusted them, they betrayed us. So this time we work with a structure that we don't allow them to do such a thing, to in a way de-elevate their own soul. How the new technology will be opened into dimension of the public in the coming weeks is something to be decided inside the Keshe Foundation. Because there is one fact: Keshe Foundation is a space, universal space technology organization with human factors in it, which many of these humans have a weak attitude and, as I call, amplitude in being able to develop themselves, to be elevated, to understand the totality. In the new enhancement system, we create the condition that the physicality takes shape, and the soul of physicality will structure itself to a dimension that mankind will become as one. In a way, through the enhancement unit and through many other things that you knowledge seekers are doing without knowing, we connect and create a global coverage for the change of the soul of the man to be elevated at the same time and in one move. The teaching and what we showed last week, as I said, will have a profound effect on what the knowledge seeker teachings will be in the next 3.5 months. And with it, we will teach that will change the course of humanity and world leadership. By the time when the enhancement units are operational, the structure of the world leadership as we know it today will change. You will understand in the coming time what has been our wish and what will be delivered to deliver the universal peace on this planet. We have brought everything forward by months as the evolution of the science to be transferred to man has moved by the same. In that process, mankind will move faster in understanding and transformation, and what we said in transferring the knowledge and the change into March 21st. In so many ways, the world of science and technology will take a rapid leap in coming weeks, and with it, we have to decide within the Keshe Foundation, within the management of the Keshe Foundation and the two heads of the Keshe Foundation and the Universal Council, how we will release this knowledge simultaneously that the world of humanity changes and takes shape in the new era. As I said, I have moved back into the lab to deliver the technology, and the heads of the foundation and the Universal Council members will take position and the leadership in how this technology will be dispersed from now on. The technology is so radical that will change everything which mankind has achieved up to now, be it from energy, food, space, and every other thing that man can imagine. As one said, Mr. Keshe, when you go into the lab, you're a lethal weapon in what you release as knowledge. And in so many ways, we are releasing as a gift to those who the souls and physicality was separated by act of violence and terrorism. This is a gift to the soul of our Iranian scientists, and I have never been more determined than past week to change the course that no, not a single Iranian nuclear physicist and no scientist around the world will be ever murdered. This is a homage to his soul, the last scientist to be killed by act of terrorism sponsored by the state. Now you understand how we brought things forward so fast, because no other scientist will be killed by another man. And this is a gift. As I said, sometimes there's a need for a change, and it takes one spark to bring that change. And the murder of the most precious scientist in Iran has been the trigger. I released so much knowledge that those who carried out this atrocity walked themselves into the what I call the noose of their own. And we shall see. I said, you play, we play. You played your game, now we play our game. When I finish, there shall be no king and no presidents and no leaders, as all men will be equal. And in so many ways, since last Friday, I speeded up the delivery of the technology to make sure that no scientist shall be murdered again by the state of Israel and Belgium and those who they sponsor. We take our revenge through science and technology and knowledge, and not by murder. The most shameful thing is that I have blood in both nations. And why, I cannot understand. Maybe is that the punishment not to be as harsh as one others wished. But the punishment will be as harsh for the heads of these states that they never do such a thing. Release of the technology in such a vast way and bringing it forward will be the punishment for those who wanted to stop the elevation of the science and technology. I don't take revenge, I elevate the soul of knowledge. And with it comes the fear of those who wanted to control and keep. As I said before to Obama's administration, how many people of Africa would you like to see in front of the White House? You have no system to detect, and you have no system to prevent the landing and the flight. As we fly the soul and let their physicality manifest themselves in the time and the place. There is no alternative except the unification of the man through his soul and through his conduct. I force mankind to this position as the time and the promised time has changed, and we deliver our way, direct the way we see fit with the change of time. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. We did have
present in all your wishes, and I very much look forward to a peaceful world free of these kinds of killings. Thank you very much.
Very much. As I said to the Iranian leadership in a very direct way, Persian Empire has been the largest ever empire on this planet, covering 40% of the landmass during this what we call time. No nation has ever been ruling such a landmass with population area ever in the history of man. The reason it became such an empire was because once the structure and establishment of peace on the order of Ahura Mazda was carried out, nations, leaders of the nations and tribes themselves gave up their position to receive the love and protection of the peaceful nation of Persian Empire. In a way, with the kindness and love and equality of the leaders of Iran at that time, many gave up their territories and rulership to be part of totality. It's the job of the Iranian leaders and the world leaders to create that condition of the time now. That nations want to be part of you because within it they find peace and tranquility. And the same goes with Universal Council and the Keshe Foundation as a whole. People want to be part of because of its motion and its notion to create a condition of peace and refusal to carry arms, to kill, to destroy. This is where the time and the change of time has come. If you understood something very interesting, when we have these members of Universal Council attending different teachings, they all come in. The Arabs, the Jews, the Christians, and all others, and Buddhists and the rest. And they all join in to share knowledge, irrespective of what path of belief they chose to call themselves. And this is the beauty of the Keshe Foundation. Religion takes second place to the path of belief in science and technology. Because through the science and technology, they understand, they believe, and they understand in unity of totality.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. And if I may add, I'd like to say that peace be upon the soul of Chrysadek and the souls of all those who have been murdered before him, all the scientists that have been murdered before him. Thank you very much indeed.
Very much.
Okay, thank you. And let me see here, we've got
Getting excited.
Get completely relaxed either. When a big wave is coming, you have to flow with it. And, you know, peace to his family. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wonder, now we speak about killing scientists and planning murder of scientists and then carrying it out the way we've seen with this most beautiful scientist of Iran. Have you ever seen a scene of extortion and threat to kill? Have you ever been witness to one where they threaten to kill and destroy you if you don't give to? I'll show you one. This is what you see. This is a scene of extortion and threat to kill by the Queen and the King of Belgium. And the man sitting in the middle is me. The life of the Keshe Foundation and my life changed in this meeting. The man standing is shamed and be shamed, ex-King of Belgium, The woman sitting in front of me is the ex-queen of Belgium. The life of the Keshe Foundation changed in this meeting, where the threat of extortion and killing was put out by the Queen and the King on the table. Give me the technology or leave my country and you'll be murdered. And he hasn't stopped. It's shameful, but what you see, most probably the same thing has taken place in somewhere where somebody like this shameful man has planned the murder of a scientist. If I would have told you, you would have never believed it, Mr. Keshe talks. But there were people present who took pictures. We have pictures of the king sitting and drinking coffee while he's planning the murder of a scientist in his head. If you think these things can be done, I sat in front of them when they told me in a very clear way. And when they couldn't get it, they went to the court producing a document, me as a terrorist, where American refused, and then they went with the same court number, they didn't change even the file number, into becoming a fraud and whatever, which we couldn't even defend in the court. My wish is that there be no king on this planet, and especially such as these two and their offspring and their blood. If you think the kings and the queens plan the murder of scientists, this is right in front of you, and the victim in the middle. And that little laptop you see in the middle is where the knowledge of God was released. I was writing the 4th book, and I stopped writing. From this picture, I got bombed, I got shot at, I got poisoned, and all by fake claims of one or another Belgium. You want to see a plan of an assassination, it's right in front of you. And you can see the man who taught to build the structure to assassinate. That's what they do. You give, otherwise we kill. And I was told in the kangaroo court, again in Belgium, in the nuclear, what they call organization, leave the nation. Otherwise we'll show you immediately after this meeting. I'm ashamed to be in the clothes of the man because I'm ashamed to meet a man like this. They're not human. And it seems to run in the blood of that nation. You see how scientists are set to kill? It's in front of you. And the man in a pinky shirt is a king. And you know, they always like to take the picture of their victims. You see what he's carrying, a camera in his hand to show what I did. I'm still here, and he's not a king. And there shall be no blood of him ever to run a kingship. So, the murder of Iranian scientists was planned in these shapes by these people. And all fingers runs to this nation. still here, and he's not the king. We have much more power than they do. And they call it the Belgian justice is always correct. The Belgian justice is correct because the crooked leaders like this sit and they write what they like, because they carry the pen of the court. I wonder how soon the court of the souls will write for them. A king was proven to be a liar and a cheat, an adulteress with no structure like the rest of his nation. They live through their adultery. Adultery to the scientist, adultery to their own nation, and adultery the way they live. You wanted to see a murder point of a scientist, you see the whole picture. The murderer and the victim. And having the audacity to go and see on a Sunday afternoon in the remotest places to make a threat that no one can see. But it was rather unfortunate. It's well pictured. We lost Fabio because of this man. We put Naomi into coma because of this man. We see all the rubbish on the internet because of this man wanted to hold on to this technology, but I gave it freely to mankind. The only thing we can do is elevate his soul. That in time, the soul of physicality will take its own position. Thank you very much. You want to see a face of a murderer is in front of you. The one who plans assassination of many scientists is in front of you. In pink trousers. Any other comments?
Okej, to by było na tyle, jeśli chodzi o materiał na dzisiaj. Jeśli ktoś ma jakieś pytania, swoje spostrzeżenia, komentarze w temacie tego warsztatu lub jakimkolwiek innym związanym z plazmą, to zapraszam. Okej, to jak zwykle ze swojej perspektywy postaram się tutaj opowiedzieć, streścić to, co było przedstawione w tej części warsztatu przez doktora Keszego. To jest, tylko sobie coś ściszę jeszcze. Okej. Od początku warsztatu mieliśmy informację o tym, o śmierci naukowca. Tutaj nie przytoczę niestety jego imienia czy nazwiska, bo nie jest to jakieś łatwe imię. I w zasadzie cały początek warsztatu i ten fragment, który ominęliśmy od 15 minuty, tam zaczynał się filmik, taki memoriał, można powiedzieć, poświęcony temu naukowcowi. I tutaj doktor Keshe kontynuował wątek, mówił też o tym, że otrzymał informację na temat zlecenia zabójstwa jego samego w Iranie w ciągu najbliższych 300 dni. Także te historie, które były prezentowane też później, zdjęcie z królem Belgii, królową, którzy to planowali odebrać tą technologię, przywłaszczyć sobie tą technologię, jak pamiętamy z warsztatów parę lat temu, dr Keshe opowiadał, jak to wyglądało, że tam na stole padła jedna propozycja ze strony tego króla, albo odda całą technologię, albo była tam groźba w kierunku życia jego i bodajże jego żony. Na co dr Keshe powiedział, że jedyne, co może mu dać, to książki, jego książki, podpisane książki, to wszystko. Więc tak zakończyła się ta historia. Widzimy, że tutaj padają, prezentowane są, można powiedzieć, troszkę drastyczniejsze wydarzenia z tym naukowcem, z tym, co jest, jak wygrażają tutaj doktorowi Keszemu jego rodzinne strony, można powiedzieć, więc ta sytuacja gdzieś tam się nasila, przy czym on sam ze swojej strony, widzimy, też podchodzi do tego trochę emocjonalnie, mówił sam o tym, wspominał wiele razy, że o swojej mieszance krwi żydowskiej, także różnych wiar, gdzieś tam chrześcijańskiej i tak dalej, więc te narody, które są też uwikłane w śmierć tych naukowców, tutaj był wspomniany Izrael na zlecenie Stanów Zjednoczonych, więc te narody przyczyniają się do tego, jak widzimy właśnie śmierci i zaginięcia naukowców, którzy dokonali wielkich przełomów w nauce. Później mieliśmy prezentowane zdjęcie wszechświata. Dr Keshe opowiadał o tym, co widzimy na to zdjęcie, wyjaśniał, czemu koncentracja materii, koncentracja większej ilości znajduje się na przykład na granicach tego owalu, który widzieliśmy, i tłumaczył, że to bierze się właśnie z tego, że tam wchodzą pola Unikosu, pola tego, co jest poza naszym wszechświatem, i jest to, można powiedzieć, powierzchnia tarcia, powierzchnia, w której ta plazma Unikosu wchodząca z zewnątrz zderza się pierwszy raz, można powiedzieć, z tą granicą plazmy naszego wszechświata, naszego Unikosu, można powiedzieć, i tam dochodzi właśnie do dużej ilości interakcji, a co za tym idzie, interakcja plazmy, interakcja tych pól zawiązuje plazmę, zawiązuje różnego rodzaju istoty, byty, materie, także spowalniającą plazmę do stanu materii. Było też tutaj porównanie i wytłumaczenie, wgłębienie się w konstrukcję jednostki wzmacniającej, której to kształt budzący, można powiedzieć, przypomina zdjęcie, które było prezentowane odnośnie tego, co znajdujemy, co fotografujemy w naszej galaktyce. Była też zapowiedź wypuszczenia dużej dawki wiedzy po to, żeby właśnie poprzez wiedzę, poprzez edukację w pewien sposób, w cudzysłowie można powiedzieć, mścić się na tych, którzy dokonują takich zbrodni na wiedzy właśnie poprzez mordowanie naukowców. Także tu dr Keshe mówi też o elewacji, o podnoszeniu duszy tych wszystkich osób, które maczają gdzieś palce w tych procederach po to, żeby już więcej takie wydarzenia nie miały miejsca. Później kolejny fragment była opowieść o pokojowym Królestwie Perskim, jak to królestwo się rozwijało, jakie miało duże terytoria, zrzeszając ze sobą narody, które szukały, można powiedzieć, też obrony i schronienia pod skrzydłami tego Królestwa Perskiego. Mieliśmy, tak jak mówiłem, też zdjęcie doktora Keszego z królem Belgii, z królową. I to w zasadzie był koniec tej pierwszej części warsztatu. I myślę, że też z naszej strony możemy dołożyć gdzieś minutkę skupienia, ciszy, koncentracji właśnie w kierunku elewacji, wzniesienia tych wszystkich osób, które biorą udział w tego rodzaju procederach zabijania nie tylko naukowców, ale kogokolwiek, odbierania życia drugiej osoby, więc myślę, że warto dodać od naszej duszy do duszy tych osób, to żeby nie musiały czerpać w ten sposób, zasilać siebie, czy czerpać jakiejś energii, cokolwiek to jest, co z tego procederu dostają. Często są to korzyści, jak wiemy, majątkowe, które stoją za wynalazkami, które to ci naukowcy wymyślają. Tutaj też było wspomniane o całym, można powiedzieć, procederze patentowym i o tym, jak ten proces, zresztą dr Keshe już wcześniej mówił w przeszłości, że to, co działo się w Belgii, tam same korzenie, można powiedzieć, całego tego procederu sięgały właśnie biura patentowego, gdzie te patenty wpływały, potem były kradzione, naukowcy mordowani. To wszystko tuszowane w taki sposób, więc w tym całym procederze gdzieś to biuro patentowe z Belgii pośredniczyło i generalnie, jak wiemy już z poprzednich też warsztatów, dr Keshe nie jest fanem patentów, sam składał swoje po to, żeby je udostępniać, otwierać i pozwalać innym na dodawanie do tej wiedzy poprzez wzięcie, zrozumienie, przetrawienie tego na swój sposób i dodania tego, co każdy może rozwinąć w swoim własnym zrozumieniu. Także, żeby już nie przedłużać, może ktoś ma coś jeszcze do rzucenia, to zapraszam. A jak nie, to minutka w kierunku z duszy do duszy tych wszystkich osób, które są pokrzywdzone, które stoją po jednej stronie tego procederu i także do duszy tych, którzy w tym przypadku są tymi, którzy wymierzają karę, czy bawią się gdzieś w Bogu, decydują o tym, kto będzie żył, a kto nie będzie. Myślę, że możemy dać z naszej duszy do duszy tych osób. Okej, dobra, dzięki wszystkim za dodanie ze swojej strony i będziemy już kończyć na dzisiaj, jeśli nie ma żadnych pytań. Zapraszam w takim razie na już niedzielę za 3 dni o tej samej godzinie o 21:00. Do zobaczenia.
Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie. nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie, w tym samym kościele, w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas, czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. I jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego, ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy i musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto, co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom. To jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz, że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej, by być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces.